the other side. I'm feeling strong, my little lady. I'm gonna keep her moving on. I'm gonna run. Don't stop. Let's see the light. I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take it to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. You know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Oh, I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. I'm feeling nice, my little lady. She's gonna keep me moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop, she's gonna treat me right. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Come on, baby. Let's take a ride. I don't know where we're gonna go, but first, let's dance. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Oh.
Hi everyone, Dan here, and I just wanted to put a little snippet about AstroWorld and what we do because I want to start getting the word out because I think it's becoming more and more of a giant community, and I want to get the word out to some other people. So what we do at AstroWorld is we hold astrophotography chats on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we just talk astrophotography. Wednesday's more of a techie kind of advanced intermediate, and Fridays is more of a newbie kind of thing. So if you want to check us out, and if you want to, hang out with some semi-decent people that like to go off the rails a little bit and have fun while they're doing it, come check us out at astroworldweb.com, and you can check out the schedule, and you can sign up for all the free giveaways that we do. We just gave away an Eagle 4 Pro, an Optilong filter kit, Charles Brackenstein's books, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come to astroworldweb.com, hang out with us, have a good time, and as always, remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Deborah, things are becoming intense. I ripped my jeans on your fence, hiding away from your man. Oh, it's a passion. Oh, tell a tale of 1,000 lonely days. Yes, to be together with you. If you want to be together, Deborah, I'm getting caught in the rain, standing here calling your name. Guess I got no one to blame. Yeah, it's a small town. Yeah, all the people turn and stare. Oh, it's a secret. Hey, let them see me. I don't care if you want to be together. It's so good to be together with you. If you want to be together. If you want to be together, it's so good to be together with you. If you want to be together, say you want to be together. I'm feeling really good, but it feels so bad. Yeah, so good to be together. Get to feel it. We did it before. We can do it again. I'm tearing out my head 'cause I don't know when so good. You want to be together. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's so good to be together. Yeah, so damn good. If you want to be together, it's so good, it's so good, yeah. What the hell's wrong with my telescope now? Yeah, what's wrong with this thing?
The lost Lone Ranger, can I break this spell? Do one thing right, do I make two things wrong? If I want to stand by the line, I will always take the fall. If I just do the left, I can leave from the right. I sleep all day long, and then I'm breathing through the night.
I wonder what it was that made me want you. She couldn't understand what made me hard. She's climbing in and out my open window. I'm laying here alone and cold and drained. Yeah. So take another breath and come up for your oxygen.
looks upon a world that's dark and tangled. I never saw her turn her head and shame. She's coming down the open window. I'm lying here alone, cold and gray. So take another breath and come up for your oxygen. Hey, you know you wanna kiss the flesh and blood of every man, every man. Well, we all took turns and it's one of the world. I never realized they had said with us, man. And she said, I want more. Give me more disgusting stuff. A little bit of disgusting stuff. Disgusting stuff. Oh, you're making me disgusting stuff. A little bit of disgusting stuff. Give me more disgusting stuff. Yeah, a little bit of disgusting stuff. I want more.
Hi everyone, Dan here, and I just wanted to put a little snippet about AstroWorld and what we do because I want to start getting the word out because I think it's becoming more and more of a giant community, and I want to get the word out to some other people. So what we do at AstroWorld is we hold astrophotography chats on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we just talk astrophotography. Wednesday's more of a techie kind of advanced intermediate, and Fridays is more of a newbie kind of thing. So if you want to check us out, and if you want to, hang out with some semi-decent people that like to go off the rails a little bit and have fun while they're doing it, come check us out at AstroWorldWeb.com, and you can check out the schedule, and you can sign up for all the free giveaways that we do. We just gave away an Eagle 4 Pro, an Optilong filter kit, Charles Brackenstein's books, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come to AstroWorldWeb.com, hang out with us, have a good time, and as always, remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Don't
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Wednesday night, so it's the same bad time, same bad channel. It's AstroWorld TV time. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? What's up, Eric? Long time no see.
Yeah. What's it been now? It's been what, like 3 days, maybe
Yeah,
4,
something like that. It's been. Last week was a long week, man. It was Wednesday night show, Friday night show. Wake up, have some more breakfast, and maybe run around a little bit. Then another show.
But last week it was a great show. This past Saturday, that was a fantastic show. Stacy is so cool. She really is.
Yeah, she really is cool.
I've
been dying to have her on the show for 2 years, and she was not a letdown by any means. She is so nice and so knowledgeable, and she really, really is good. Oh, and here comes Taco Bell dinner. So
there you go.
Sorry.
Thank you, baby. I mean, if you like, shows like us having Stacey Doughton on, like it was on Saturday, and you like having, us have guests like Richard Wright and, and Adam Block and so many others, do us a huge favor. Let us know by giving us a thumbs up on Facebook. Give us a big like on, rather on Facebook, or a big thumbs up on YouTube, and let everybody know that, we are out here and, we are doing, this show for astrophotographers by astrophotographers, and we are having a blast, and I think they will have a blast too. I mean, it's really important for Google and YouTube to know to put our name in AstroWorld TV out in front when they start typing up astrophotography, right there next to Trevor and, and Chuck and Ray, get us up there too, right there next to Sean and everything. So absolutely, Saturday was just awesome. And yeah, we've got, I hope you got a good show coming up tonight. No guests are scheduled tonight, but we're still going to have a lot of fun and, a lot of conversation here. And yeah, I know, in the title, we got a big event, big thing for us in a couple weeks coming up that we are so looking forward to.
And we have this event coming up in December. In December. If you go to NEAF, you'll get this flyer. So, but just so you know, I put up today on the website. I put up the NEAF giveaways. Okay, not giveaways. It's the raffles, the NEAF raffles. If you buy, and again, you have to be at NEAF to win. So this is only for NEAF people. So I just want to make that clear, and that's on the raffle. So if you go to astroweb.com, go to raffles on the main page. You go there. It's 3 raffles for 10, 5 for 20. You could get wine tumblers, mouse mats, signed calendars, your Closet of Death miniature, plus a $50 gift certificate to the store. And I'm working on some other stuff, so there'll be more raffle prizes as we go, and we're going to be giving away raffles both days, so Saturday and Sunday. They'll be both the same both days, but if you want it, you buy it, you buy the raffle, you PayPal me, you come to NEAF, you pick the tickets up at the table, and that's how that'll work. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. As I take another bite of my steak quesadilla. Sorry, I've been working late on the website, and it's been crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say is everybody should get a chance to check out today's APOD. It's a beautiful image of the dolphin head.
Of the dolphin, yeah.
I mean, the guy did a good post-processing on it.
That is a really nice photo.
So yeah, NEAF is coming up, man. It's coming up.
Yes.
Coming up huge. And again,
So,
remember, if you guys or people out there want to see something at NEAF that we haven't done, we're going to have a TV up there, you know, playing the shows. We're going to have a big flag there. We're going to have stuff on the table. I'll be selling some stuff. Eric will be selling his FLT 91. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I thought it was a Celestron.
Oh yeah, he's selling the scope right behind him.
Fire sale. Everything must go.
So you know what I was doing, right? So you know, I bought the Giotto and the Alto, right? Okay. So for those of you who don't know what the Giotto and the Alto is, so Giotto is a flat panel made by Prima Luce Lab. One of these guys. Nice little flat panel. They come in sizes all the way up to like 600 millimeters. They're huge. But you could buy this, and then you could buy a motor for it. This is the motor. And what it does is it will move. I don't want to ruin the motor, so you can move it up and down, and it comes all the way up to your objective. So it's like this, right? This is the clamp, and it comes around to the objective, and then when you're not using it, it comes back around just like this, so it's flat on the bottom. And I was trying it with a ring on the dew shield instead of having all this and getting a really crazy long dovetail. I didn't like it. I thought that it was kind of, even though that the dew shield on the Astrophysics is very, very stable and you ain't moving that thing. But the whole thing is that, you know, all of the nice writing is on the dew shield. So it says Starfire as, you know, Gran Turismo right on the dew shield, and I'm covering it up with a big 155 millimeter ring. And I said, you know what? But now, because I got such a long refractor, right? How am I going to get this to a point, right? So that it comes around and covers the objective, right? Because it's got to be right there. So apparently, Prima Luce sells a 30-inch dovetail. So I bought a 30-inch dovetail.
Wow.
So it'll be a little bit left of center, the scope, which is fine. But I'll be able to slide this on the end of the dovetail, and then I'm ready to go.
Do you need 30 inches, or could you go on with 24 inches?
They don't sell a 24-inch.
They do. Los Mandy does.
But Los Mandy, unfortunately, do not fit the rings that I have. I'd have to get all new rings. I'd have to do, you know how that is. It just doesn't.
Well, you have the center slot, though. They've got the center slot along with the individual holes. So you can put those rings anywhere within those center slot stands. So it's just an idea to consider. But
even if you just have the center slot, that only leaves one nut. You know, just the center one on each.
No, because once again, you could, the slots are close to almost about maybe an inch in length, right? So on a 24, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 center slots.
Right.
So you can move the rings however long you need it to be.
Right. I get that. I'm just worried about just having, because even though it's just got one slot in the center, because then you only got like the center slot here. There's one hole, right? Now the other holes might not match up with the rings that I have. You know what I'm saying?
But it's that's a Vixen and a DVA clamp. So you're turning it upside down, right?
Right, but I still need to put the telescope on the top.
No, when I get there, we'll go through it. I'll show you.
Well, I'm gonna get this big patty whacking thing anyway. So this thing is huge. It's like
it's long, man. I tell you, it's gonna be. You're just short of 3 feet.
Tom was telling me it requires its own shipping box. That's all. It's so long. So I was like, just give it to me. It's relatively cheap, but
Hey, what's the weight of that thing? That thing's got to be at least 5 pounds, 7 pounds, maybe. It's gonna be-
whatever. It'll be sturdy as hell, and you know what? It'll all be color, coordinated and all that kind of stuff. And
I forgot. Yeah, it's got to be the red for the color coordination.
well, I'm gonna have red, white, and blue, right? I'm gonna have the
there
astrophysics
we go.
scope, the Pegasus mount, and the Prima Luce lab stuff. So I mean,
Then I'm going to bring in some patriotic stickers that you can put on the OTA. Then
no, you're not putting any stickers on my astrophysics. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, because I know the 24-inch Lost Mandy weighs 5 pounds, so a 30-inch has got to be at least another pound to 2
Another
pounds. So I'm
pound.
going to say,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be at least 6 pounds minimum.
Well, what are you gonna do?
That's right. What are you going to do?
Nothing.
That's it.
So I'm attempting the image tonight, but my monitor says clear. That says clear. Everything says clear except for the one freaking spot in the east where I'm imaging. There's a nice cloud right there. So I'm gonna double check and see if it's still there.
You sure it's a cloud? And you sure it's a cloud and not NOPE?
Cloud.
You know what? I watched that movie and I sat there and I was scratching my head going, okay, I've heard all this stuff about, oh yeah, NOPE. And I'm watching, I'm going, is this it? Is this what this movie's all about? I was so disappointed that I spent $12 to watch it.
It's kind of like, what was it? The end of what was that? What was that one with the aliens and what was it? Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah, that's the one where they. But think about that movie, right? They didn't like water, but why did they come down to planet Earth, right? Where 78% of the planet is made of water.
Genius. But anyway, let's get back to astrophotography here. So
Really?
here we go. I'll share my screen really quick. And let's see. Here we go. So it looks like the sky's cleared up a little bit. That's a really long dither, so don't worry about that. This is what it's going to really look like. But
the bullseye looks good, man. You're getting right in the bullseye.
Yep. And there we go. You got, let's see, 1, 2. And you can barely make the third one here. I'm only doing 30-second exposures in the luminance. And look at my histograms off the left. So
Jesus, Dan, you like that purple background, huh?
What's that?
You like that purple background?
I'm gonna eat my burrito here. But
yeah, we can even
He's a huge Prince fan. He's a huge Prince fan.
Whoa.
All right. Did I ever tell you the story about purple? I'll tell you the story about purple. Did I ever tell you the story about purple?
No.
Well, all right. So when I was a kid, it was the 70s. It was the 70s. Everybody was a hippie. Everything was cool. And one of the best TV shows when I was a kid that I was watching was the Donnie and Marie Osmond show. And I loved Donnie and Marie. So I had a nice crush on Marie, just like everybody else. I was like 7. But Donnie always wore purple socks. So for like 3 years, all I got was purple socks. And then purple turned out to be my favorite color. And now it's on my Nina. So and it just turns out to be my wife's favorite color too. So
interesting.
So that's the disaster of the purple.
I thought that, it was supposed to be easy on the eyes. I kind of looked at that and went, oh my God, look at that color, man.
Yeah.
Pretty bold.
Yeah, so you know what? I also did purple because I used to run 2 instances of Nina. So I was doing 2 different scopes because I was slaving one, and I had one on top of the other. And so I did 2 instances of Nina to get, one wider field and one. So I did RGB on one, just with a star color, and narrowband on the other. And so I did that. So I needed to pick another color. Nina was originally blue, so I kept blue as the primary, and I made purple the secondary. So I knew which scope it was.
That makes sense.
Works for me.
Hey, as long as it works for you, bro, that's what matters, right?
That's right. Doesn't matter what the hell we say, Dan. You can tell us all to go.
Leave my purple alone. But oh wow. All right. Well, I haven't done anything with the Melee yet. Melee is still in its wrapper. I haven't done anything with this yet. Nada. And let's see. I think I just got burrito sauce on my Alto. But
oh dear.
Yeah,
oh, gracious me.
Sorry. But yeah, so I started the Leo trio, and you know what I did? There was one big dust mote on the, and you know, this is something that we may not think about. I mean, I don't think about it because I'm a little bit dense in the head sometimes. So I had a big dust mote all the way at the top end of the sensor, and it was like a half moon. So it wasn't a full dust mote. It was just a half, right?
Okay.
And it was fairly big. So the further away down the tube, right, the bigger the dust mote is, right? The closer to your sensor, the smaller it is, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it. So it's fairly big. So I'm like, all right, let me look at the picture. So the picture had the dust mote on the top of the frame, and you only saw the bottom half of the dust mote. So it's like a half moon, right? So imagine a dust mote being right here on the screen, kind of like that. I'm trying to do it kind of like up in here, right? Flats wouldn't get it out. So I'm like, well, it got out everything else would have got. So I said, what do? I open up the filter. We already take a look. And it looks like there was a little piece of either condensation or something that got stuck on my luminance filter only. It was only on the luminance filter, this dust mote. It was a spot a little bit smaller than a pinhead, and it was just there, and it was like dried. I'm like, what is this? But the thing that and it makes sense to me now as I thought it through. You know, we don't think about things like this sometimes. At least I don't think about this, right? You know, square and round to me, you know, I mean, maybe I just need to get square filters, but I'm a little bit stupid like this. So I thought that at first glance, I said, you know what? Why, if that's the spot, why isn't it at the top of the filter? Right?
Right.
Because it's on the top of the frame. So why isn't it on top of it? Because the spot was a little bit, it was about a half away, you know, from the center to the end. So if I was going to do, you know, here's the circle, the spot was like right there, right? So it wasn't near the edge of the filter. So now if you think about it, right? Let's see if I can get a piece of paper here. Now, if you think about it, if you're looking for spots and stuff like that on your filter, right? So here's your frame, right? If you can see it. Let me see if I can. Let me turn off the lights a little bit. There we go.
Okay, a little bit.
So,
all right.
So here's your frame, right? Now the dust mote was here, right? That's exactly how it looked. Well, here you go. Well, you got to filter the light, right? And everybody sees these pictures on filters, right? So now you got the filter, right? So it's your dust motes aren't going to be relative to the frame because you got to center the frame in the filter. That make sense?
No, but okay.
It doesn't? All right. So the rest of the dust mote is here on the filter, right?
Right.
Half
Okay.
of it.
You're talking about the image circle.
So the image circle's here, the filter's here. So your dust mode, even though you're only seeing half of it, because it's got to encompass your whole chip, right?
Yep.
Your dust mode, if it's at the top of your frame, is probably going to be closer to the center because it's got to, you know what I mean? That's the way it's kind of going to look.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm not explaining right. No, I'm not drunk. I'm not even drinking. I'm drinking soda. But this, it took me a while to figure this out. and that's so that's pretty much exactly where that spot was too. So I got the spot out and it got the dust mode.
So it was tequila or a taco spot, as Tom was asking.
Or maybe it was a cheese. It was a cheese spot or a mustard spot.
Yeah, must have been one of those burger commercials, where it's like a Wendy's burger where Dan's biting into it and it just drops on the filter.
My God. But Eric, you imaging or anything?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I should have thought about this earlier, and I didn't. I'm probably gonna have to go outside or something to figure this out. But I was having such trouble with, I wouldn't say trouble, but I just wasn't satisfied with my images that I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to go after, what Stacy called my unicorn, which is 106. Yeah. So right now I decided to go, F10. I want to try F10.
F10 on 106? Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Right.
I want to go F10. So, I'm not happy with the reducer nor with either reducer I have. I'm not happy with the way that everything's coming out with the imaging circle and everything.
Oh, with the vignetting that you've been having.
Yeah, with the vignetting. Yeah, exactly. And as well as I'm collimated, but I think there's issues with either, how the Lepus here is set up as far as, I'm wondering if there's some issue with tilt is what I'm getting at. So I'm not getting the stars the way I want them to be or anything like that. So I want to eliminate as much as possible and go straight, through the objective and just see what I can get as far as, my stars and everything. So right now I have been dealing with, since I didn't, plan probably well enough and get things into somewhat of a decent focus beforehand. Now I'm fighting this and trying to get at least Capella or some sort of a bright star in line so I can get it focused, so I can get some sort of focus here.
Go ahead, Pete. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I'm envious of both you guys because right now it's pouring rain and we've got 45.83 inches of rain since January 1st.
Yeah, you guys have gotten some crazy amount of rain, and
I know.
California is over, guys. It's over.
I'm living vicariously through you, Eric and Dan, because you guys are out imaging. I can't even get out to image.
Yeah, it's something right now. I'll say that for sure. As far as what I'm trying to get done, so I may have to run outside and figure something out here to get Capella or another star here in line, and then put my imaging train back and try to get this.
Are you guys able to see 5 planets aligned? I mean, that was been the big thing.
That was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I did get a chance to see the planets somewhat, yes, when I was out yesterday.
I gotta fix this. I'm getting an echo. Hold
on
a sec.
Yeah, you're getting some sort of echo here.
Yeah, I got it. There you go.
Go.
Yeah, so a bunch of my guys from up here did get some pictures of it yesterday, and it looked pretty cool. You know what? Nothing has beat so far when it comes to planets and what happened. What was it like 3 months ago with the parade of planets, with all of them just coming right across like this. So you got Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, the Moon, and then Mercury, if you can find it. If you had a scope that was big enough. But if you're getting them all, you're shooting it like with a 14 millimeter. So you probably didn't get Mercury, but you were able to get all that in one field of view. I was able to get that picture, even though it's not a great picture, but I was able to get that picture of all of them, with the exception of Mercury. So I put a little arrow where Mercury is supposed to be. What do we got going on in chat? Anything in the chat tonight? Rain.
No, I was going to say, since it's an open forum tonight, right? I mean, we could answer questions. I mean, what do you want to pimp rigs? I mean, I don't know, Dan. I mean, we're open, right? Because
we're really open right now because I've been working all day on the website. The website is coming along swimmingly. Yes. We're looking at probably an April 4 or 5 launch date. Might launch it on the Warren Keller show. Might launch it on that. So,
well, as I said, we can even talk about NEAF and what to be expected. So, I mean, it's an open forum tonight, right?
Yeah. Yep.
This is it.
And you know what? If you haven't gotten your tickets to NEAF, you can still get tickets. You can get tickets to NEAF still. They're out there. Go get them. Come on down. Hang out. See the vendors. All the vendors are great. It's gonna be a return to NEAF this year. It's gonna be out of control. There's gonna be a lot of people there, a lot of good speakers, hosted by Joe Rayo, who's a Emmy, who's actually a member of my club and an Emmy award-winning meteorologist, and he's gonna be hosting it. It's gonna be pretty good. Messier Marathon. We just missed your first one. So the first chance to get them all was in the new moon in March, like 2 weeks ago. The next one you could try is April, but you're going to be up really late, and it's going to be a long night. It's going to be to get them all. You literally have to get there at dusk, and you're not leaving till a little bit before daybreak because it's so long. You have like a 3-hour wait of just doing nothing because you're waiting for stuff to rise. And you know what? It makes me think about this. If Charles Messier, was I told the story before on the show. Charles. So the reason why the Messier catalog came into existence was Charles Messier in the 1780s or so was a comet hunter, right? And he loved to look at comets, and that's what he did. And what he did was, because comets move faster relative to the stars and the objects behind it, right?
Yep.
He was like, you know what? Well, this little fuzzy in Taurus, it's going to annoy the crap out of me. So I'm going to put that on a list. And I don't want to mistake it for a comet again. So I'm going to put the coordinates down, and all these things that annoy the crap out of me, I'm going to make a list out of it because it's not a comet and I don't want to go looking at it anymore. So he made a list of 110, depending on who you talk to, objects. And it turns out to be objects like M1, the Crab Nebula, M42, the Orion Nebula, the M31, 32, and 110, all the galaxies in Andromeda. So all these things that were beautiful things in the sky that you could probably see naked eye, most of them in the 1780s. But they annoyed them, so they made it. So what the Messier Marathon is you could see all 110 objects in one night, right? One night,
Right.
from mid-northern latitudes, you could see them all. However, my question is, there's a lag time, right? Between, you start off with M74, M77, the in Virgo. You start off with those because those are the ones that are setting in the west really quick, right?
Right.
And then you move across the sky in declination towards the east, right? You go that way. Fine. Once you get to a certain point at about 1 o'clock in the morning or so, where you're done with, I want to say somewhere up about, I could be wrong, but I think it's somewhere about Lyra with M57. And all of a sudden you have to wait like 2.5 hours to the next Messier number to pop up, right? What the hell was Charles Messier not looking at for all that time where there's this huge gap of no Messier cataloged items? What the hell was he doing? He must have been drinking.
And it's simple. It's simple. His wife was bagging on him, saying, "Look, you're spending more time at the scope instead of spending time with me. You got to take time with me." So that's what I had to do. So
That
he had to sacrifice
might be
a couple of hours.
That might, I think Pete has just figured it out.
I'm not gonna touch that because if Robin's watching this, she's gonna probably be.
Hi, Robin.
Right? What is Pete saying? And I don't want you hanging out with him anymore. You can't go out and have fun with him anymore.
Dan knows the physicist Fig Newton. Yeah, he does. I do. I created the Fig Newton. Actually, it wasn't called the Fig Newton.
Hold on. I got a question here.
Oh, you got a question?
Delco, Astro Noob. Welcome, because if you're new to the show, welcome there, Delco. I hate how soft the images are shooting one-shot color. He's using a 294 MC. Will going mono help with this softness? He's got an Edge 8.
Okay.
And so in the 294, are you using this won't probably make any difference, but I assume I'm not gonna assume this. Are you using the reducer or not? Are you shooting at F7 or F10? I'm just curious about that. And one question, and this is Norm bringing this up because I was going to ask this, is have you checked your collimation? Because that is, one thing you need. Okay, so you're shooting at F7, so you're using the reducer. Sean, stop it. Sean, just stop. Because guess what? You've got a collimated newt too. And not only are you collimating the secondary, you're just collimating the primary.
Sean, is that a Fig Newton? He's talking about a Fig Newton.
But it's what I was going to say, is that I'm wondering if it could be your collimation. Yeah, you would want to check your collimation. And so that's one thing, even myself, that I'm looking at, and I may have to go out and take a look at this really quick because me changing my focal plane will also, it kind of affects certain things. So I'm thinking my collimation may be slightly off. Yeah, Pete.
Ask him what the image scale is. Let's find out what the image scale is initially. Let's find that out.
Because he's using a 294, so he's right. He's in because the image scale with the F7 reducer, I want to say it's 22 millimeter, I believe.
The image scale?
Yeah, the image.
No.
Yeah,
no.
The image.
No.
Your image circle, rather. Your image circle, rather.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Yeah, but we're talking about the image scale. Let's find out what his image scale is, because if he's oversampled, that'll definitely prove it right there with the image.
Oh, yes. Another thing is, are you binning? if you're using a 294, are you binning 1, 2, 3, 4? Because you want to bin at least bin 2. So that's another question: is are you binning bin 1 or are you binning bin 2? I've been bin 2, and I'm actually thinking about going bin 3.
Really?
Yeah, it is an improvement.
Seeing that bad?
It can't. It just depends on the night.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yep.
So just off the top of his head, if he wants to do a quick calculation, IMI scale expressed as arc seconds per pixel.
Bin 1.
206.265 times the pixel size of the camera expressed in microns divided by the vocal length, and that'll give you your image scale, and that's what we really need to know right now, and that will kind of help us out.
Yeah, his image scale is, I think he's oversampling. I think he's oversampling.
Oh, so it's 63 cents.
I think he meant 0.63. Oh, 4 point. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, that's a pixel size. So it's 63 cents. There you go. So
63 cents.
So if we go to Celestial Wonders, right? Celestial Wonders Astrophotography, right? There we go.
Yeah. So if he did, and Eric, as you said, you're absolutely right. If he did 2x2 binning, multiply that by 2, right? And he'll be at what, 1.3 or 1.2. So he'll be fine.
Yeah. So he's got the 294, which is one that I used to have, and he's got the MC. So
what's his focal length at 0.7, 1400?
He's actually at the cusp. He's at the cusp there. He's at 0.67 arc seconds per pixel.
Yep.
So, but for decent seeing conditions, you want to be like at that very, like maybe at 0.67 up to 2 arc seconds per pixel. I would seriously consider going 2x2, because a lot of us who have the Edge 8 and we have 294s. I've got the 2600, but I have had the 294. Majority of everybody, we all do 2x2 binning on the camera. And by 2x2 binning, you will get you will be at 1.34 arc seconds per pixel, which is right dead in the middle. That's the best spot. So that's why I'm saying do 2x2 binning. And that's because and using, we have these long focal length scopes with these very small, sensors, that are, very with that are like what, 3.76 microns
usually, yeah.
Microns and stuff like that. They're so small nowadays that we have to bend, especially if you're doing a long focal length. I mean, ideally, I've talked about this in the past. If they would actually go ahead, ZWO, and take the 432 sensor and turn that from just a hockey puck into a cool DSO camera, man, I would be all over that, because that is a 9 micron sensor. You've got big, much big. Your sensor is much bigger, and so it is ideal for a long focal length.
He said he has one-shot color.
He does. So, he has a one. And you can
software, not hardware, but software.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're what are you using for and what are you using for acquisition here, Delco? Are you using Nina? Are you using the ASI Air? Are you using Sequence Generator Pro? I'm just kind of curious there as well. Yeah, and say Dave, the 2600 is saying it's 3.76, which is why I got to go to 2x2. So yeah, switch to bin 2. Because I have the ASI Air, so you have a very similar setup to what I have. And so switch to 2x2 on your preview and start taking a few shots there. But I would say, depending on your seeing, that's when you want to start thinking about 2x2 binning or 3x3, depending on your binning. You know, I don't know if you want to go. You don't want to go any higher than that. On the 294, yeah, you want to actually stick to 2x2. So that's the sweet spot. That is your ideal spot for the 294 one-shot color.
And you know, Eric, just to kind of add to what you've done, and we've said this in the past, this is how do you determine when you should bin and when you should not bin? And literally, once again, it's all dependent upon your scene conditions. On those really rare nights that you get in a calendar year, you can do 1x1, but the majority of the time, you'll probably end up doing 2x2 binning. You can do 3x3 binning and even 4x4 binning, but if you got to do 5x5 binning, that means you got 25 adjacent pixels. And the point being made is that there's so much atmospheric disturbance that the center point focus on that star is scintillating. It's not staying stationary. It's moving over those 4 or 5 adjacent pixels. So if you got to do 5x5 binning, you don't even want to do astrophotography. Even at 3x3, that would be the cutoff point. If you got to do 9x9 pixels, you're okay. But if you got to do 4x4 or 5x5, you almost just want to either just say, hey, stay home and drink brandy, or just do visual, because you're going to lose the resolution, but you do gain the sensitivity to be able to gain that central point focus of that star, because that star is scintillating on that center point axis. And that's what you got to contend with when you do binning.
So we had a question regarding the 224 and the the 224 and the 120.
The 120. Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing with that, as far as I know, let's see.
So I'm looking at them right now, and let's take a look at see if they've got the 120 still around. Yeah, the 120 one shot. And let's see here. Well, frames per second is a lot faster on the 224. Your well depth's better.
That's why the 224 is really
224.
labeled a planetary camera, because of its fast frame rate, and that's what it's really geared for. The 120 to me is the cheapest guide scope you could probably get out there, and many people use it for small focal length telescopes and hooking it up to like the F4 ZWO mini guide scope. And actually that's what I use on my Red Cat, is the 120 and the F4. And the 224 is a really, not saying you can't use the 224 for guiding as well, but the 224, the main kind of thing for the 224 is it's a planetary camera. It's made to get good planetary, and it's a proven planetary imager. So it's one of the best ones out there. It's got the most use too. There are new ones out there. Was it the 432, I think, and a couple other ones.
The 432, the 22, the 224.
Yeah, they came out with 3 of them.
The 220, I think it's the 220 that just came out. That are the latest ones. But yeah, the 120 one shot versus the 224. The 224 blows it out of the water. I mean, if you're going to do planetary, it's faster. It has a better well depth. It has much better read noise compared to the 120. I mean, the pixel size is the same, but yeah, you're just getting a much better camera. And for the cost, I mean, it's $50 difference. I mean, it's negligible, really, in my opinion.
The 120 and the one, and I'm just looking at some of these pictures for the 224 on the website, and these planetary images people get out of them are great, because again, you don't need a cooled camera for that, so the read noise is much lower. The frames per second is through the roof.
The roof. I mean, you've got like what 60 on 120, and on the 224, it's like over 100 frames per second.
No, it's 35 for the 120, and I think it's 150. 150
Yeah, it's like,
but that's when you drop it to 10 bit. So it's 64 at 12 bit. So it's double.
So still much faster.
Yeah.
So
hope that answers the question.
Yeah, hopefully so. Most people don't think about the most dominant source of noise, light pollution, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean, heck, we're getting pretty close to, one of the largest light polluters that we have. The moon's about to go full pretty soon.
Don't even start with me.
A few more days.
I'm just getting cleared nights and the moon's coming out.
Yeah. So yeah.
I need to welcome to my world.
Yeah. Wow.
We're just gonna call you the rainmaker. And we're not talking about a good way either, Pete.
I tell you, I swear to God, I got mold, I got moss, I got everything growing everywhere, man. It's like, holy smokes. It's so freaking damp right now. It's just nuts.
That's funny. I guess it cleared up because my PhD guiding hasn't been beeping in my ear the whole time. So I guess it cleared up.
Hey, I got a good question to ask everybody, and this is kind of interesting. And I know what the answer is, but I'm going to kind of put this out for everybody. So let's talk about flat frames. So should flat frames be gain matched with their corresponding light frames?
Should it be gain matched?
Gain matched? That's the normal routine, isn't it?
Yeah, but does it have to be? I don't think it has to be.
That's a good question.
I don't think it has to be, because you got to remember that you're just for the same reason it doesn't have to be temp matched either. That you're really worried about vignetting and image imperfections, dust, fingerprints, that kind of stuff. However, I will tell you this: I'm going to say no, it doesn't have to be, but as a best practice, I just do, because I'm anal with everything. So everything's the same for me. So
I'm going to just kind of see what the member audience has to say on this, because that's a good question. I mean, that's what would be a question.
It's going back and forth in the chat. People are saying no, yes, no, yes.
Me, I'm on the yes camp. I'm in the yes camp. You keep it all the same.
Well, like I said, I'm going to say no on it doesn't have to be, but yes as a best practice. So I don't think it has to be. But I'll leave Pete. I'll leave Pete up to say that. So
I've got to go column here real quick. So you guys talk real quick while I go knock this out.
All right, you got. I'll knock you.
David has the right answer. David Barnett has the right answer.
Of course he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Flats don't need to have the same game as your lights. You must with a gain. Flats don't. That doesn't make sense to me. Flats, you don't need to have the same gain as your lights, but you must calibrate your flats with a gain matched master. That doesn't make sense to me.
No, think about it.
One's saying you don't need it. The other one's saying you do. I don't understand that sentence.
So the key once again is that we know we've got a gain setting for our light frames, right?
Right.
But then let's take a look now with our flat frames. Remember, we talked about our flat frames. There's a quick rule of thumb for our flat frames. You want to use between 50 and 70% of what the full well capacity is rated for the camera. So then we can adjust the gain to be able to adjust for that, right? So we can maybe decrease the gain settings to be able to get that 50 to 70%. So then we would change that gain settings for the flats. So that's kind of the interpretation that I'm reading from his answer.
So does it need to match or not? That doesn't. It's saying no. That's saying no to me.
That's just it. You know what? I'm just thinking is that I'm curious to try it. I would love to see if somebody would give that a shot and find out, because I've always wanted to know that answer.
Well,
Because
you know, Pete, you really just crapped the bed now, because we're all waiting for you to tell us the answer. You know,
because Dan, I'm like you. I'm real anal. I would just say, you know what? This is the way that I was taught to do it. This is the way that I
Yep.
have learned to do it. So this is the way that I'd like to do it. But
Yep.
you know, there's always new techniques. So that's what I'm saying is that it would be interesting just to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I match, even though it may not be needed, I match every single sub, whether it be flat, light, dark, or bias. I match offset, gain, and temperature for everything. That's what I do. And that, even though you don't need to kind of do all that, I just put the cooler. I make everything. If I'm shooting at -5, everything's at -5, even my darks and
And
flats.
yep. And Dan, the reason you do that is because guess what? It eliminates the potential for having any outside
Exactly.
unknown factor, potentially screwed up. So you're absolutely right. But it's kind of like when we had Richard Wright on here. Remember last year, Richard was talking about taking 1,000 frames at maybe no more than 2 seconds. How many people back maybe a year or two ago would have thought about that? Yeah, it takes up a lot of hard drive space, but a lot of people would think about it. And especially with you being in Long Island, it would make a lot of sense to do it.
Yeah.
You still get the integration time, just with a lot more data that's going to occupy more data space. So, you know, I don't know if there's any real right answer here. You know, I'm like you. I'm kind of old school from the fact that this is the way that I was taught. This is the way that I've done it, and I just don't like to induce any potential outside factors that would change anything.
Yeah, I agree, and that's being kind of said in the chat as well. That's saying, you know what? I'm trying to. There we go. Just do yourself a favor. Just match everything, and then you don't have that outlying issue that, you know, that may happen that one time. You know, I mean, just like we were talking about. Hey, listen. Sometimes flats don't work, and you gotta have to do them again until they work. You know what I mean? And you may have a certain kind of some sort of issue with your flat that you don't know about, that's at the wrong, or your master flat's all messed up. So you just take new flats. I call them cheap shots. Flats and bias are cheap shots because they're relatively short exposure times, so they don't take that long to do. Now, on the other side of the street, you got darks. Those are not cheap shots in most cases, because they are usually longer in an exposure time. Depending on your sub length, they could be anywhere from 10 minutes, 5 minutes each, whatever. And if you're taking 50 of them, it could take a long time. And if you're like me, I never know what I'm going to shoot at. It really depends on my skies. I never know what sub I'm going to shoot at. So I just take a library of 1 minute. I take 30 seconds, 1 minute, 90 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and 5 minutes. And that's what I do. And I don't go any more than 5 minutes, even on narrowband, because it just makes no sense to me. But
and as you said, some people take dark flats,
Yep.
and they take dark frames, dark flats, bias frames. There's really no right or wrong way. It's just a matter of how you get to that final image that you feel comfortable with. So you're absolutely right. Is there an advantage to taking dark flats as compared to flats? It's you know what? It's kind of like the teacher telling you to say, hey, look it, I don't care how you get to the answer. We all know what the answer is. If there's a multitude of different ways to get to the answer, just go ahead and run with it.
Yep. There we go. Get Eric's chair out of the way. There you go. But yeah, I mean, now that I have this guy, and I'm sorry, Mark, you can't use this because you have an RC. You can't use this. This is the Alto, and it will raise my flat panel So it reaches the front of the objective, and when I'm done, it'll store like this, right? And then when I'm done, it'll close as a dust cap.
Yep.
And that's it. So now, and then when I'm ready to pack it up, this thing just slides right off the dovetail. Unplug the cables, done. Put it in the case. You're done.
In response to Norm's question, CMOS cameras now have got such a low read noise that you really don't need to do darks. I mean, that's just the key is the low read noise. So, but as I said, it doesn't hurt to take them. It's just an insurance. Why do we have insurance, right? Just in case.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna kind of. I gotta say you're still gonna need dark frames. Or dark. You're gonna need dark frame, not just dark flats, because dark flats calibrate your flats, right? Right.
Dark flats.
Dark flats and bias calibrate your flats, right? So, no, it calibrates. No, I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
Yeah, and then dark frames already have the bias within them.
Dark frames has a bias, but here you go. What happens for those of us that have cameras? We all know that there's hot and cold pixels in the camera, right?
Yep.
So if you don't take darks, right, now you run the risk of having hot or cold pixels in your image that haven't been corrected for.
And as you said, those hot and cold pixels, they change positions with the longevity of the camera. I mean, they're not permanently stationed in those same spots. So you're absolutely right, Dan. You've got a good point there. So that's why I always recommend, if you're going to do dark libraries, you want to at least do dark libraries at least every 6 months.
Yeah, I do them every quarter, to be honest with you. That because what the temperature swings that we have. So think about this. If you're in mid-northern latitudes, you go from the 20s to the 90s. You know what I mean? So you go from 20s in the wintertime to I'm not talking about you crazy people that are watching from the desert and stuff like that. But if you're in the mid-northern latitude 40, you go from really cold to the winter to really hot in the summer, right? So 20 or below to 90 or above, right? So let's think about this for a second. 20 and below, your cooler isn't working as hard, right? So it's not creating as much heat, right?
Load, not too much load on it.
Exactly. So everything is going to be, or your noise is going to be less because there's less read noise in the camera anyway. But you know what? You're not running the internal mechanics of the camera as much, right? In the wintertime, in the cold weather. Now you got spring. Well, now you're in the 50s and 60s. So now your cooler is running at 30 to 40% instead of 0, right? So now you're making the camera hotter, right? Because you're running stuff. You're running stuff on the board. And then you get to the summer where maybe your cooler's at 60 or 70%. I hope you're not running any higher than that. If you are, you need to probably lower you need to raise the temperature a little bit because it's too, you're never going to hit that temperature.
Yeah. And you know what, Dan? Here's another good thing. It was when people look at buying a camera. On the higher end cameras, there's a choice between a grade 1 and a grade 2 sensor, basically an industrial sensor and a consumer sensor. Now, I always tell everybody, do not purchase a grade 1 sensor because eventually over time it degrades to a grade 2 sensor. It's just a ploy to be able to get you to spend more money. So believe me, do not spend the extra money on a grade 1 sensor because when you start to use it within a year's time, it's already degraded into a grade 2 sensor. And then we should talk about vertical columns. You're going to get vertical columns eventually over time. That used to be in the CCDs. CMOS will probably end up showing up, but over time you might get one vertical column, and then over time you might get 2 or 3 columns. That's an indication now that there's going to be failure that's starting to happen within the particular sensor. So just food for thought that you might end up looking at that. So once again, it's just dependent upon the camera manufacturers because there's only really 2 manufacturers of the sensors. Everybody who builds cameras buys them from these two manufacturers.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a good thing because you know I've been using CCDs for a long time, just like you, Pete. And I had the SAC 7B from a long time ago, and moved up to the SBIG STF, the Kodak 8300 chip, and then went to the QHY 16-2. And you know, each one of them, not only did they eventually get bad columns, but they got bad rows, or some even a half a column. You know what I mean? And that, you know, and these are things that have been inherent, like Pete said, to CCDs, and sooner or later the CMOS it'll probably end up happening to them because it is pixels, it is chips, you know, these things do happen. But these things aren't not correctable. You could correct these things, which what's called cosmetic correction, and you can make what's called a bad pixel map, or a bad row map, or a bad column map. And what you could say is, all right, PixInsight or whatever you may use for your post processing, this row, and you're going to highlight the row 327 from pixel 9,800 all the way down to what you're gonna highlight. You're gonna zoom all the way into that thing so you can see the pixels, and you're gonna look for the white ones, and you're gonna drag this line down, and you're gonna say all of this entire selection is bad pixels. And what it will do is, for that column or row that you specified, it will average the pixels adjacent to it and fill in the color match of that surrounding pixels. So you won't even know the difference. You won't even know it's there.
You know, as you said, it's such an interesting hobby because there's so many of these little nuances that, you know, and Dan, as you and I, systems integrator, you know, we share this information freely because it's important to share this with people that are getting into the hobby. And you're right, because sooner or later they're going to come across this. They're going to say, wait a minute, I remember hearing about this, but I can't really remember what it is. But we've got it on tape here, right? So they can always go back to Discord and follow up.
Man, this thing is working.
I love
really
my
well.
Schmitz. I love Schmitz, but man, this is killer.
What's the matter?
Sounds
like you're having a problem.
Yeah, I'm checking the roundness of my stars, the eccentricity.
This is a question. This is an answer for Tom. Tom, I know you've got the 127. So believe me, you know, we can definitely use 1x1, 2x2 binning. Once again, it's dependent upon the scene conditions. So if you got scene conditions, you know, typical your scene conditions average between 2 and 4 arc seconds east to west of the United States. Every now and then the jet stream will kind of move up and down. And if you've got, say, your scene conditions between, say, 3 and 4 arc seconds, then you may want to go to 2x2 binning. If your scene conditions are between 4 and 5 arc seconds, now you may want to go to 3x3 binning. And if you got to go above 3x3 binning, I really would recommend doing astrophotography. You know, maybe put, say, an eyepiece on that 127 and just do visual, because once again, you're going to have to do binning. And once again, as you said, with binning, you're going to have to get at least 9 adjacent pixels to be able to get that center point focus of that star to be able to accommodate over those 9 adjacent pixels. So your stars are going to be slightly bloated. The celestial target you're going to be looking at is going to be the same way. It's going to definitely not be in focus, but you're giving up resolution to be able to gain sensitivity. And that's exactly what binning's all about. So it's all about your scene conditions.
Very interesting. I'd be very interested to know how, for the most part, how the ASI Air comes up with its calculations on focal length. I may need to talk to maybe Simon or someone else, because the ASI Air, now if I'm shooting at f10, I should be at just around 2,300 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But however, my focal length is showing up at just around 2060 millimeters, 2059 millimeters to be exact. So I'm kind of curious on how these calculations are made. Is it based off of, you know, also the camera and, you know, how that shot
isn't it done
is?
off the plate solve with the ASIR?
It does. It plate solves, and then it gives you this information here. So I'm just very curious.
No, I mean, what I mean is, doesn't it plate solve and know your pixel size and know your focal length, and then just actually does, based on what the picture says, judge your focal length that way? Because
because you can zero out your focal length as long as your when it plate solves, it calculates based off of the resolution and your pixel size. Then it does some sort of calculation. I'm not 100% sure to come up with the focal length it's coming up with.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the picture that it's taken. It's judging, because you know what? Every single telescope that I hooked up to the ASIR, it never matches up to what my telescope manufacturer says the focal length is. It's always a little bit lower or higher. I've seen that, you know, and it's only like, you know, less than 10 millimeters in most cases. You know, I haven't done anything with long focal lengths like, you know, 8 millimeter Schmitz or anything like that with the ASIR. But you know, I could just imagine that it's exponential as far as the more of a focal length that you have, the more of a difference it's going to show. But
yeah, because it is the sensor size, and I believe it is aperture as well. But how it comes up with this stuff, that may be it. I'll have to ask, maybe like I said, Simon, or, you know, maybe TJ or someone would know.
You know, my answer to that is, it's like one of those things. It's like one of those things. Hey, listen, if it's not bothering me, just leave it.
Well, I'm just curious.
I don't think anybody knows the answer. I really don't think anybody knows the answer. I you know, we could all, you know, do a supposition on what it is. The only people that are going to know the answer to that are the programmers, and maybe Simon knows, maybe TJ knows, maybe, you know, the A team over at ZWO, I'm sure knows, but you know, but I don't know if that's ever going to get down to the main user. I think, you know, it's probably going to be, you know, locked up, just like, you know, they lock up all the rest of this stuff, you know. So
God, let's see. So finally got it. It looks like collimation looked fine. I used the Tribat, and I was looking at Capella, the airy disc. Everything, the secondary looks centered, and like I said, in the Tribat, everything looked like, you know, everything came into focus and it was lined up on the diffraction spikes. So I think I should be good.
You want to, okay, I'm going to show you what I got so far with 110 30-second shots. Okay. However, I don't want to hear, there's no flats, there's no nothing. So I'll show you just you know, what I got here. Here you go. So this is what I got so far. That's 55 minutes worth of exposures.
That's good, Dan.
Wow.
Yeah, so you got good detail in there. Look at that.
So it's 55 minutes.
Dusty.
What?
You're dusty.
Please, it was dusty before.
And Dan, what's the scope?
That's after cleaning the luminance filter. So I don't know. This has got to be on, you know, on the glass of the sensor or something. You know, this has got to be somewhere else.
What's the scope, Dan?
That's the AP.
Oh, that's the AP 130. Okay,
yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
That's nice. Look at the nice round tight stars. I like that.
Yep.
You could get good data here.
They better be nice and tight if they're only 30-second exposures.
But no, I didn't actually check both sides of focus. Maybe I should. Maybe I should.
So it's just gonna live stack. Eventually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some I'm gonna put some darks and flats into Sharp Cap and see, you know, so I can kind of see the live stack go.
Christopher's got a question. I've been watching him. He's been posting this a couple of times, and we should try and maybe see if we can help him out. There's been, David's helped him out and there's some ideas. But if we go back up a little bit, you'll see what he's trying to do on a side-by-side setup.
What do you
Looks like
use?
it looks like he's fighting the weight issue. Is it an alt azimuth scope clamp? Yeah, if you just go up a little bit, you'll see what he's trying to do.
Trying to set up a side-by-side rig and fighting the weight. The alt as scope clamp for the alignment of the second scope is a problem. Any suggestions? So I'm guessing what you're saying, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, is that you're fighting one side to the other on what's heavier, right side or left side. Is that what I'm seeing? Because I've used the ADM and the Prima Luce and the Los Mondes side by side, and you're just gonna have to kind of what I did was I took the scope on the clamp and I put it on the dovetail and I took a pencil and I put it under the main dovetail, the horizontal dovetail, and I just kind of got everything kind of. What?
You got to find that center of gravity on the side by side.
Yeah, so you just like I took a pencil with a flat so it's flat, and I put the dovetail on top with the scopes on top. And if it needed to move side by side, so if it was heavy on this side, the right scope had to move over, or the left scope had to move over more. So if it's a little bit on this side, okay, well, this needs to be moving forward or backwards, and do that. You may want to, find out some sort of way to because you're gonna have once you have it set, it's set. But don't do what I did. I really hurt myself doing this, right? So I thought I had everything weighed perfectly on my, and this is why I'm not going to do side by side anymore. If anything, I'm going to go piggyback. I don't care. I'm not going to do that anymore. But side by side, I had a 127 on one side, right, which is 17 pounds or so because it was a carbon fiber, and on the right side, I had the 80, the Eagle, and my guide scope on this side. So it almost turned out to be the same weight, right? Pretty close, maybe 2 or 3 pounds heavier on the 127 side, right? So one day, I'm sitting there, and this really, really hurt me. One day, I'm taking the 80 Esprit off, right? And I'm holding it with my hand like this, and I'm getting ready. There's a table over there, a little bit further than an arm's length away. So I have the 80 in one hand like this, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm turning around, and I start to see him on the left part of my eye. The scope is starting to way over to the side. So now I'm like this, right? I have the 80 and the Eagle, and which is probably about. I'm not a strong person. I have very little. I will kick the crap out of you with my legs, but my upper body strength is nothing. I punch you. I can't punch my way out of a paper bag. But so I'm sitting there and I'm holding the 127 from smashing into the pier with this side, and with my right hand, and I don't know if you ever saw Sir Valiant. I don't know. Maybe Pete knows this. Sir Valiant, the old movie. So there was an old movie where one of the tests of the knights was to, at arm's length, hold a 5-stone rock, which is about 15 to 20 pounds, right? Hold that as long as you can. This guy stood there for like 6 hours doing this, like nighttime, daytime. He said, but whatever the case would be. So I felt like Sir Valiant and Prince Valiant. I'm sorry. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm trying to hold the 127 one hand while reaching with my arm to lay the 80 on the table without doing this. So
Dan,
I made
that's
it. Nothing happened. I made it. Everything is fine. But in the process, I hyperextended both arms. And I ended up having to get like these massive shots in my elbow because I overextended everything so much that liquid got in between my elbow bones. So I had to get a needle to suck out the liquid in there.
That's the difference between a whoops moment and an OS moment.
So that's why I'll probably never go side by side until I have a permanent pair, and that I don't have to take anything off because I'm gonna forget.
I agree with you, Dan. I side by side, you're just potentially setting up yourself for some serious issues. Piggyback all the time.
You ever see the picture that I had? I was going that way. I had the 127, the 80, the Eagle, and the guide scope, like this. I think it was about it was about 27 inches high. I was like, there is no way in hell this is gonna work. There's no way in hell. And it didn't work. So now I'm back to I have my 130 out there. That's it. I'm good. And then if I want to do one shot color for something else, I'll do a small, but whatever.
That brings up a question. KISS, right? The simple setups are the best. Believe me.
Oh yeah, I love this. This thing. I love this thing, and I know the Star Lancer. By the way, I want to throw out because I saw him in the chat. If anybody's looking for a NIX 101, rarely used, Star Lancer Astro is selling. He's in the chat right now. It's not selling because it's bad. He just has too many harmonic mounts. So he's selling his. So feel free to hit him up on the Discord channel. Star Lancer Astro is selling a NIX. So.
Oh, wow.
So.
Nice.
But I got to tell you, I mean, this thing is
it's
so
sold
awesome.
already. That didn't take long. It's sold already.
Sorry, man. Tried to help you out. I guess I came late to the party.
Get that sucker sold.
But this thing is so light, man. I mean, this is with a tripod on it. I mean, if I could remember I said I couldn't fight my way out of a paper bag? It's true, but I could still carry this. I mean, this thing is really, really cool. And it literally goes right here. Same thing with the AM5. AM5 is awesome. You for all you ASI Air users, and even if you're not, I mean, if you're a Nina user, they're both really top-notch mounts for harmonic and light portable rigs. I mean, really is outstanding. I can't wait to get the standoffs for that so I can put the 130 on it and really give it like a real weight test and see what it does.
Gotcha.
I can't believe it sold already. That's so funny.
That wouldn't have taken long.
He literally put it. He literally put it on. Just curious, Star Lancer. Did it sell from the Discord or did it sell somewhere else? I'm just curious. But Dave, you got to come over. The spring's here. We got to start the project, man. We got to do it. We got to do it, man. Got to put the floating deck up. And you bust my chops over cables. Yeah, I know. I do. Oh, did the Islanders win? Somebody said the Islanders won in a shootout.
Oh, that's great against Washington. Yeah, they're playing hot right now. I tell you.
2-1 over Washington. Man, Sorokin, if Sorokin doesn't get the Vezina this year, I swear, I'm gonna go right to Bettman's house and I'm gonna hurt him personally.
That's funny.
Come on, the guy's got the best. He's got, for anybody who's scored, anybody who's played over 40 games, he's got the best GAA, the most shutouts, and the guy's just awesome. I mean, come on. If the Islanders could only, if the Islanders could only score, we'd be okay.
No. But you know what, Dan? They've only got what 7 games left, but they're peaking right at the right moment. They're going into the playoffs right now.
You know what? This reminds me of? This reminds me of the playoffs in the bubble.
Oh yeah.
The way that the island. Remember, they took a couple of weeks off and they came back and they were on a losing streak. They came back and they were. And then they lost to Tampa Bay. Scumbags.
I'm looking forward to April 17th, man. I live for April 17th to June. That's my season.
Yeah, Dave. You know, Dave. I know Bettman doesn't decide, but I need a high profile. It wouldn't do any good if I came down and hurt you because you didn't win the Vezina. It would do something if I hurt Bettman, and I just personally don't like him. But
you guys.
Very well.
Yeah, we live for man.
So, yeah.
How's it looking on your side?
So you're talking about. So you were talking about, you know, these harmonic drives being great, and I agree. They are great, especially for the price points and everything. But what is your opinion on these direct drive mounts? What is your opinion on direct drive?
On the Strainwave?
No, I believe they're called direct.
The new ones. I haven't seen anything yet. I don't know. I haven't tried anything yet.
Okay. Because I believe I don't know if the 350s are direct drive, but you got all these new, you know,
the plane wave.
Yeah.
That'd be a P question, Mr. Planewave.
What's that?
Is the Planewave, is the 350 a direct drive?
Yeah, direct drive. Yep.
It is direct.
They're all direct drive. Yeah. Okay. And the beauty is that it's and same with the L500s and the 600s. Same.
Yeah, and looking at, you know, there, you know, a lot of those they are, you know, the plane waves, you know, quite expensive and everything. You have to those are serious, you know, at least for me, that's a no-go. But comparing these to these harmonic drives and everything, I'd really be curious, you know, on the pros and cons of, you know, these direct drives and what they give, you know, what are those pros over, you know, other worm. I get, I mean, there's no backlash. I mean, you got backlash with a worm drive, but with these direct drives and a harmonic drive, I'd be really curious to try to understand, you know, comparing them, you know, the pros versus cons versus, you know, besides just the cost and stuff like that.
Well, maybe that's a question we should ask the Planewave guys when we see them in April.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, case in point, one of the things with harmonic drive, with the wave stream, is that, do you remember we were talking about the gearing and the teeth?
Yep.
If you take a look at the worm in your gear drive, you've got a very minimum amount of teeth engaged. But with the harmonic drives, you've got 30% of those teeth engaged. So you got a higher torque. The higher torque, you don't have backlash. The only downside with the harmonic drive is that you have a higher periodic error. However, if you do PEC, you can definitely correct that and get it much lower. But the fact that with the harmonic drive, and this is one of the reasons why, like this Hoban mount right here, the 170, it's a phenomenal when it comes to the having the teeth engaged, because if you notice the animation, it's not a circle, but it's kind of more of a round.
It's an elliptical.
But look at the number of teeth engaged. You got more surface area that's actually engaged, so you've got that higher torque rating, and that's what's so nice about those harmonic drives. So regardless if it's a ZWO, if it's a Pegasus or a Hoban or a Rainbow, yes, you're right. But you do have that downside that you're going to have to do periodic air control to be able to guide out the PEC on it. But that's inconsequential. And then with the direct drive, which is kind of cool, is this direct drive, yes, you can go unguided up to a certain point. Typically, that point varies. Some people say 10 minutes, some people say 8 minutes. And that's great if you're doing LRGB, but if you're doing narrowband where you got to do 3 times the exposure rate of what your luminance filter is, then you're going to have to do guiding, because 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And if it's a low surface brightness target, you're going to have to push that at least 30 minutes plus. So you're right, you're going to have to definitely do guiding. So there really is no one mount out there that you're going to not have to do guiding, unless you're like what Richard Wright says, do 1,000 2-second exposures.
2-second exposure, yeah.
You know,
yeah, very, very short
and
exposures.
That's dependent upon your site location. If you're at a border like where Dan is at, yeah, you're going to have to kind of maybe give that consideration. But where I'm at a border 1, I can push that to 3 to 5 minutes and I don't have an issue. So you're right. It's just geographically site dependent is what it comes down to.
There you go. I'll show you this real quick, right? Remember this video?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now look at the teeth. Look at the number of teeth engaged.
They're all over the place, you know, so that allows to the high torque.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
See, like just like that. You see how it moves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool stuff. That's what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah. David was saying direct drives have no periodic error, no gears, high res, and fast slewing is one of his, and they actually respond to wind.
And what?
It says David was saying they actually respond to wind. In what way, Dave? I don't understand that. Sorry, but no, yeah, but I see no periodic error, no gears, high res, and fast slewing.
So, you know, once again, we were talking about how to calculate periodic error, right, in a worm gear. So, case in point, remember we were talking about determining what's your worm cycle, how many worm cycles, how long does it take to do a worm cycle? So here's a quick calculation right now. It's 86,164 divided by the number of teeth in the worm gear. And that'll tell you how many minutes is one worm cycle. So when we were looking at PhD2, remember we were talking about predictive PEC? And predictive PEC, I tell you, I like predictive PEC in PhD2. It's really a great algorithm because it's self-learning. You just need to run it through maybe a minimum of 3 worm cycles. If you can push it up to maybe 5 or 6, if you have the time, then it really becomes self-learning. And you'll see some phenomenal results with predictive PEC within PhD2. And you know what? This brings up another topic that we should discuss, is that, you know, Dan, we know that Nina uses the interface of PhD2 for doing auto guiding. The SkyX Pro uses their own PEC. And a lot of the other, what was the other one? Sequence Generator Pro.
Yep.
God, I guess people still are using them, but
people
not
are.
the big.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember they were the big thing about 2 years ago, right? They were the big. You know, it's funny. Every couple of years, everybody goes through a different change, you know, in these software programs. But remember, SGP was using their own off-axis guiding software. So you know, it's funny that you still get PhD2, which has been a staple for so many years, and they're still around. And I love that program because of the algorithms that are available to use.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know, hey, listen, I go back to the day where, you know, we used, I say it all the time, Guide Dog, and because I think it's the funniest thing in the world. Guide Dog, the program, was like the first program that was out for guiding, and every time you know, instead of hearing that beep from PhD where you lose a star, every time you lost a star, you heard woof, woof, woof.
Yep.
And it was a
Here's
dog
question.
bark.
Ernie's got, would you advise PhD2 predictive PEC over EQ Mod's predictive PEC?
I've never used EQ Mod predictive. I have used Green Swamp Servers predictive PEC. I turned it off with the Green Swamp server because I thought the predictive PEC in PhD2 guiding did just fine. I just leave it on one. Don't leave it on both. You're gonna confuse the hell out of the computer. But if you're gonna use predictive PEC, just put it in PhD2 guiding and let it do it, and do the whole training like Pete said. 3 to 5 worm cycles will do it fine. Find out what your worm cycle timing is, and then times that the amount of cycles you want to run. If you want 5 and you have a 3-minute worm cycle, so you want it to run about 15 minutes. So yeah, me too. I'd like to try MetaGuide. I've never tried. I've never used MetaGuide.
I've never tried MetaGuide. I've got it, but I've never really tried it.
I've never tried it either. Too much stuff to try. Too much stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw something out to all you Green Swamp server users, because I've been coming up against something recently with Green Swamp server, and this is the not replacement but the alternative to EQ mod that people have been using for Cinta mounts and the Atlases, the Skywatchers, all that kind of stuff. So when I start my sequence in Nina, Green Swamp server thinks it's on the wrong side of the pier. So Nina, before every single sequence, wants to meridian flip it before I even start, even though that I'm pointing north. It won't move anywhere. It says doing meridian flip. And this only happened recently. This is not something that has always happened. This only happened. So if anybody has any idea what that might be or what setting maybe I screwed up on, it seems weird that it's triggering a meridian flip in Nina. I don't know. It's very odd to me. Yeah, I have the Sky X as well, and Pete does too. The Sky X to me was a little too much for me. I think that the interface is good. I think it's just a matter of using it. I'll just be honest with you. I just don't want to learn another program. I really don't. I think Nina works.
Just stick with what works for you is really, the answer that I can recommend too is that there's so many programs out there. Just stick with what works for you and just be happy with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you could be good and you could have 2 setups. One is a test setup and one is your imaging setup. You know what I mean? So while you're imaging, you're not wasting time on losing quality nights, because we know all of our quality nights are very limited in amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be a tester or something like that, have another mount like these nice little strain wave Pegasus mounts that you could just throw on outside, throw them out, get my ASCAR and just go and test other things. Like I'm going to put the Melee on the Pegasus because I don't like the way that Pegasus and the ASI Air, like it works together, but it's too much BS with it. So it's just until ZWO figures that out at 100%, it's not worth it to me to kind of fight it all the time. I gotta go into the Unity software. I gotta untrack it. I gotta unpark it. I gotta go back into this. I gotta do that. I gotta use a Mead driver in order for it to work. I mean, this doesn't make sense to me. We have ASCOM drivers for the NICs. It works beautifully in Nina. Works great in Nina. And so now I'm just going to use it with Nina.
Once again, it's been mentioned, this is a hobby. It's a challenge of a hobby, trying to get everything to communicate. The nights when everything does communicate, you're a happy camper. And then certain nights, you just can't understand, wait a minute, something's not right here. And you got to play detective and find that out. But if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right?
Yeah.
And the majority of people that look at your images just go, oh, that's a great picture, thinking that, oh, yeah, you just got your cell phone up and you took that photograph. No. They don't understand the time, the effort, the tenacity, the challenge that you had to go through to get to that one photograph.
Absolutely.
So only this membership and us can appreciate what we have to go through.
Absolutely.
And you know, and you're absolutely right. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I mean, let's face it, the majority of the people just want the easiest way to do things. They don't want to take the time to put the effort in. But that's the difference between being good and excellent. We're all excellent because we take the time to understand what these challenges are and how to overcome these challenges. And to that, we really need to really toast a toast of gratitude, because it is a challenge for what we do here. Case in point, Eric, your Able 85. Remember the duration, the time that you took to put it in. Only you can
Yeah.
appreciate what you had to go through on that one.
That's
Yeah,
true.
so the Starland, so you and I have been going back and forth with this offline regarding the on-step protocol. And let me tell you something. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. I mean, I've tried on-step. I've tried on-step electronics. I've tried multiple different baud speeds. I've done everything with that on-step protocol, and it just does not work for me. The only thing that works for me is the Mead 16 driver. The Mead LX200 16 driver is the only thing. Everything's updated. As far as I know, everything's updated. You know, you won't. You know what? The ASI, the thing that ASIR does well, it tells you if you don't have the right firmware when you turn it on. So you know, it's updated. Everything's updated, and it's just. I mean, I don't know what to tell you with that. If the you know, not for nothing, and I hate to say this about ZWO, but you know what? Let me tell you. No, the firmware for the Nix is updated. It's all updated as well too. But ZWO should have the driver on it that says Pegasus Nix. I can't believe that it doesn't have one on there. It's the only mount in the entire civilized world out there that's not on there. Ridiculous.
Dan, have you seen Pegasus Unity software
Yeah, I
on
have.
their box? I tell you what, I love what they're doing here. Is instead of actually having specific setups for each individual setup, whether you've got, like, say, the Velocity 200 behind me or the Borg 107, they've got their Unity software that as soon as you plug everything in, it recognizes what's up and running.
Yep.
They've done a phenomenal job on their software, and I got to give them credit.
Yeah, they really have. And I've used the Unity software, and it's very intuitive. It's really nice, and it's a nice user interface. It's really nice. But I don't know. You know, can we all just get along? I mean, just get, but I mean, so that's what I'm going to do with that. I have my I'll probably get another harmonic mount. I'll probably get like an AM5 so I could just use it well with my because I have a mini and a plus. I have the whole ZWO thing, but I got the Melee. Who knows? I don't know where I'm going with that. But you know what? I've been getting some really good results tonight with the one. Let's see, what do we got here? I got 150. I got 75 minutes stacked here. Let me see what it looks like.
I haven't even started. I'm this night's pretty much a wash, probably.
Yeah. So
for me, I'm not getting. I think I've got some tilt issues. I've got other things I think I need to figure out and deal with.
We AstroWorld became a dealer in Player One cameras, right? I love the fact with the Player One cameras that it's got a rear-facing tilt plate, so your adjustment screws on the back end, so it's not on the front. So you go right at it, boom, 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 done.
Nice.
I thought that was really, really intuitive as far as tilt plates are concerned, because we all know what a pain in the butt tilt could be.
Yeah, we do.
Well, once again, we've talked about what tilt is, and it's just a very poor way from these OEMs, original engineering manufacturers, that they need to resolve a issue instead of just Band-Aid fixing it. And that's exactly what it is that, oh yeah, you know what, we know that we've got some issues here in trying to make these component items. So you know what, we'll put these tilt plate adapters in there just as a Band-Aid fix. And you're right. It's just a Band-Aid fix. It's just not a solution.
Yeah.
And here you go. Here's what I got so far with the dust motes and all. This is 77 minutes right now going in.
It's good. It's real good.
Hey, not bad for 30-second images. I mean,
No.
Again, the reason why I'm doing 30-second images, if anybody wants to know, is because my skies are horrible. I'm in Long Island. It's just horrible. I'm Bortle 8, whatever, or more. And plus, I think the moon's a little bit out now. I think it's just coming up. But we'll see. But that's what I got so far. Pretty cool.
And this is LRGB, or this is one shot?
This is only luminance mono camera. But it's all luminance. So that's why I'm down to 30 seconds on here. Now I'm 77 I love doing the folder watch on this, because it'll just stack on the fly. It'll just watch that folder. It'll just keep on stacking.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know how to do this, actually, if you just go into File, go into Cameras and choose a folder monitor camera, you could do a live stack as the photos come on in, and you just point it to the right folder over here and let it go. It's saying it's got 156 files, what the file name is, waiting for the next one. It's getting the next one. Now I'm at 78 minutes. And you can move the sliders here. There's histogram sliders. Something like that. You can do an auto if you want, but sometimes that messes up everything. See, that kind of messes up everything, So you're going to want to make some manual adjustments. Change the black level. Change the mid level. Bring it back even more. A little bit more. There you go. And then you can always reset. You hit reset here. And then reset there. And then you can do it all over again. But there you go.
Yep. So, Dan, do we have any members willing to give us a presentation in any of the upcoming shows here before NEAF or after NEAF?
Somebody wanted to know if that was a leech on the right-hand side. I guess, there's a dust mote that's kind of traveling around and just is moving around. It's kind of weird, but it gets calibrated out. So it calibrated out the first set. So, I mean, leave my dust motes alone. If you know what, I got it. You know what I got to get? I got to get that photonic cleaning technology stuff. I got to get that stuff.
Some good stuff, man.
I got to get the stuff for the filters, and I guess I got to get the O-ring that's big enough for my 5-inch refractor. I was looking at it today. They make them special. They only make them up to 4.75 inches in stock, but they will make bigger ones. So when you spray the the polymer onto your lens, then it doesn't leak anywhere. The gas, it acts as like a gasket. So, but
now question, and I think I'm almost positive it's tilt, but if your stars, they're not angling, but maybe they're vertical.
Okay.
If you take even, that's usually an indication of tilt, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it? Because if they're not angling,
it depends on where the chip is. Because sometimes it will go when you're at a certain distance, the sides will be straight, but the other ones will be this way, like the corners will be this way, and the tops and the bottoms might be straight. Okay. With the other one where things are going into the center, that's one of them's too far. I got to look at the picture again. One of them's too far away and one of them's too close. But whatever the case may be, tilt is usually kind of when, you know, you got the left corner or somewhere it's kind of out of focus and the right corner's in, the right bottom corner's in, kind of like that, or like this. It's going to be opposite on each side if you have tilt.
Okay, then that's not it. Then it's not a tilt issue. Then.
Well, run it through. You want to send it to me? Run it through. I'll run it through Inspector.
Yeah. Let me.
Email
I'll
to me.
download. I'll save one of these and send you, and we can run the fit.
Email to me. It'll tell me right off the bat if it's tilt.
Here, Dan, I'm going to send you something right now that I got on that shows exactly what Eric was talking about. So bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
Technical info. There we go. So that's camera tilt. There we go. Okay, coming to you, Dan. Email HR.
I didn't get it yet. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I got it.
So to kind of show. Remember that the image between the two.
Yeah, that's right out of CCD Inspector.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And if you send me the picture, we can show it on the screen too.
Oh, that's not there. Okay, let me get that over to you then.
No. I mean Eric's. I'm sorry. No.
Oh yeah, here. Because I've got it here. Let me load this up, and I'll share my screen here. And so if we go, okay, let's just go here. Entire screen and share. All right, so this is what I'm dealing with.
Let me make you big. Hold on a second so I can see what's going on. Okay.
Okay, so
it's
this
really
is what
tough to see from. Let me turn all this stuff off. Okay.
So let me know when you see.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm seeing from 2 to 7 kind of elongation.
So I can't go very far on these. So
but the center looks good. Well, it looks to me that the bottom right looks good.
Yeah.
It looks to me the center looks good. And then once you go past center, it starts to get elongated.
Pass towards the upper left?
Yeah.
Or when I'm going vertical, or if I'm going just straight up?
Yeah, now I'm seeing a like 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock elongation.
Okay.
Am I seeing it wrong? Because it's tough to see on this little screen.
Yeah, because that looks pretty good. The one I'm pointing at. If you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, those look fairly good. So I got CCD Inspector here, and I grabbed it.
All
right. So is it curvature or is
it just do measure?
Just do measure.
And let's see.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you got. Hold on. Now hit the curvature button. No. Yeah, right there. Okay. So now what does it say for tilt? It doesn't look. Well, that doesn't look like a bad tilt to me.
Yeah, tilt in X, it's 1 and it's like -1.
No, your tilt is fine, but your curvature is out of whack. It looks like 20, 28. Is that 20 or 28? Can't see.
20.
Not ugly. That I think that has a. Are you using that that whatchamacallit, that reducer again?
No, this is without. This is F10. This is no reducer. This is straight into the visual back. So
that really doesn't look bad to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't look bad. So it's not a tilt issue.
No, you don't have tilt.
Total tilt, yeah, total tilt 0%. So it's not a tilt issue.
The collimation looks decent.
Yeah, collimation is good. So
what kind of exposure
because,
is that?
For example, I'm going to run another. If I run a 30-second, I want to see what a 30-second does. My guiding is fine. So I'm going to run I'm going to run this quick 30-second, and we'll see what we end up getting here. It could be wind. Who knows? I'm just doing max gain right now.
Yep.
Just so I can figure this out and see what could possibly be my issue here. So now, now I have at 30 seconds. Now I have elongation.
Wow! Look at that.
Look at that.
That looks like a tracking now at this point. If I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to think. It could. I'm wondering if it is.
What's your guiding at? 0.6. That's not horrible.
No.
I might run a new. Well, are you running with the same calibration?
2000.
No, I mean, are you running with the same? Do you have to do a calibration every time?
I do. I run a calibration. Yeah.
Oh well, hold on. Your auto restore calibration is on.
Should it be off?
I would turn because when you do auto restore calibration, that means it's going to use your last good calibration.
Well, I calibrate every time I kick off. Every time I kick off.
I would turn that off. And then do another calibration. That's what I would do.
Okay. Yeah. It's not going to hurt nothing.
Well, all right. Well, that's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I saw your calibration graph and it looked great. But yeah, turn that off because what's going to happen is, unless if you force the calibration, it's going to use a previous calibration for whatever you. So now, even though the calibration graph looked good, you may be pointing at a different part of the sky where you might need a bigger push to somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, I'm looking at the guide star there. You don't want a flat top. You want a peak.
Yeah, that's oversaturated.
That's elongation. Yeah, that's the elongation of the star.
So
stop that. Stop that totally.
Stop that.
Okay, and you don't have an auto star. You don't have an auto star pick, right? Now go back to your guiding screen.
Yep.
Okay. Now how many seconds you at? We had 3 seconds. All right, click on one of the stars to loop it.
Yep.
And pick okay, use that star.
There we go. Yeah, you don't want to use an oversaturated star. So there, that's the star.
Yeah, I think it was auto-selecting. Yeah, I think it was auto-selecting for some reason.
Yeah,
so.
And that's fine to auto-select as long as it's not using the star like it was just using. You know what I mean? That star is way oversaturated. And, because PhD guiding, and this runs off of some of the scripts on PhD2, what PhD2 looks for is centroids and brightness of the centroid of the star, right? So that's why sometimes people prefer to use out of focus stars, because or not out of focus, slightly out of focus stars, because then the outsides of the star become dimmer and the center becomes brighter. So it points at that brightness of the star and tracks that instead of the whole star.
Gotcha.
See, look at the peak on that. That's exactly what you're looking for, Eric. You want to get a peak, not a flat top.
Right, for sure. And yeah.
Nudge south. All right.
Yeah. So, yep. So, okay. So we're fine here.
Yeah, I would say put that to bed for now.
Yeah.
And let's
so
see. Can we see your graph on the guide? Can we see your calibration graph?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. See, it's completely different. From what I saw before, it's a little different. So let's see what happens. So your right ascension aggression, I might turn down a little bit because you're at 0.6. Hold on, wait, don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it.
It's recovering.
Just wait a little bit. Wait a little bit more here.
Yeah, it's still recovering.
Yeah. So right now we're looking at about We're looking at about 1 arcsecond peak to peak. So that's 0.5 above and 0.5 below. Yep. I think we got it. You may try to go down and hold on a second. Let's see. This looks pretty good.
I don't know. It seems like it's leveling out. I wouldn't touch it.
It does. Yeah, I wouldn't. If you did anything, maybe take the aggression down to 80%. But that would be about what I would recommend. Leave it at that.
Let's see how the numbers run, though. See, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. See, with the ASI air algorithm, the aggression works a lot differently than it's more intense than, so I would put that back up to 90 and leave it. I think you were good there. The ASI air is very, very, it's not as 85 in PhD2, the regular, and 85 in the ASI air are two different things. They're not the same, and they don't work the same way. So I would just let that settle out and see.
Yeah, I'll just leave this alone. That's fine.
So let's take a picture and see.
Right now I'm doing bin 3. It's not. I don't think it's the greatest right now because I think maybe it could be some. Who knows? I'm thinking this may not be a great night. Some clouds may be rolling in here. Because
so if you're binning 3, that's a so-so night. Binning 3, so that means 9 pixels.
Yep.
Yeah.
The graph looks getting better.
Yeah, let's see. Picture looks exactly the same.
Now I'm getting actual round stars.
Oh yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, versus
it's tough to
now
see.
They're actually, now they're actually kind of rounded versus what they were before. And let me just run it again.
Yeah, I'm wondering if your calibration was running over from a prior project or a prior night or even a prior week. We don't even know.
Right.
So with the aggression on ASI air compared to PhD2, usually it's good at 70% to 80% on PhD2. I find. Why is it at 9% for ASI? What's the difference? The algorithm?
The algorithm's a little. I've found that between the two programs, that when you lower you can't do it by percent. Number one, because it's more the aggression buttons on the ASI air are more aggressive than it looks.
So you don't have a histogram button to play with as well, do you?
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
A histogram. It's right here at the bottom.
But can you play with that as well?
Yep. You can move
the history.
Yep.
Is there like a history buses you can play with as well then, right? like on page D2, you got the RA aggression and you got the hysteresis. Can you play with the hysteresis?
On no, not on the
just the aggression only.
Yeah, aggression.
Just only the RA aggression. Interesting.
Yep, that's the only. They don't give you. It's not as
very
customizable. It's very, very kind of, it is what it is. Aggression, and that's it.
Yep.
But how do your stars look now? They look a little long to me.
They're elongated now. It's like 1 minute they look good. Then in my second run, they're elongated. So it's just really, really weird.
That could be a consequence of seeing, if that's the case.
Yeah. And that very well could be. So I'm going to take a look at my seeing here.
And you're already binning 3. I mean.
Yeah. So this may not be a good night. It just may not be a good night.
Stay home and drink brandy.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So, it is what it is sometimes. So right now, it's still they're slightly elongating. Their star size is about 3.5 arc second on average, 3.5 arc second. So it just may not be a good night. That's all. So, I'll go ahead and stop sharing here and go back here. There we are. Cool. Yes, the CEM60. So, and I've had this guy, since Chris sold it to me. So I had it for, maybe 3 years now.
Nice. You want to take a last look at the
back focus? I'm at 133 millimeters, Chris. So, which is what you're supposed to be at the with the 8 is 133 if you're at f10.
Okay.
How you doing, Dan? How's your project going?
It's good. The little amoeba's getting darker. I'll show you real quick.
All right.
There we go. Here you go. My little amoeba squid right here. Kind of went all the way around.
Amoeba squid.
Let's get into this. Is just over an hour and a half now.
So how many images?
183 images.
Oh, really? And what's the duration exposure?
It's still 30 seconds still. So
30 seconds. Wow. Look nice.
Yep.
I'm envious of both of you guys. At least Eric, you're trying, man.
Yeah, we're trying here, man. We're trying here, my man. We are trying.
Like I said the other night, what happened was, I did my Nina sequence so fast. I did luminance, R, G, and more R. I didn't do B. I must have not hit the right one in the drop down, and I did two sequences of R. So I got plenty of R and G, and the luminance I'm gonna have to do again because of that damn dust spot that won't calibrate out. So that luminance is done. So that's garbage to be, it just won't calibrate out because it's not really. It's just an odd thing that I got rid of. So
it's
what
funny.
Do you got there, Pete?
I tried to fire up the Hoban. Now this is the hand controller for it. It's 4 inches by 4 inches by 1 inch. And when I fired it up, I couldn't get the OLED to illuminate. So there's an issue with the ribbon cable. So I reached out to Hoban, and they're going to ship me a new ribbon cable. So I'm going to have to open this up and replace it. And hopefully I'll be able to go out and start imaging. But it'll be the first time this year, come maybe sometime in April, I can get out there and start having fun with you guys. But I'm living my character, guys. Believe me.
Right. Wow. It's 11:05. We're already over.
Yeah.
We still got 2 folks still watching.
Yeah, they're hanging out.
So once again, the question is who's the next member that's going to come up and do their presentation?
Well, Dylan was supposed to do one, and he just I'm gonna text him right now.
Yeah, he's in St. George, so
Let's see, Dylan, where are you, Bloodstone? Bloodstone. Hey, you ready? There you go. So I just texted him. Let's see. No, I don't know where Dylan lives, to be honest with you. Bloodstone. But we'll find out. Hopefully, it's just so next let's see. Our next guest is the 5th. That'll be Warren Keller. And then that will be our second to last show before the NEAF break. So the 5th, then the 7th. And one of those 2 days, I'm hoping to have some good news for everybody, for anybody who wants to help support AstroWorld. The website will be going up and will be the actual store with telescope stuff, not shirts, even though that will be on there. So if you wanted to buy any Explore Scientific, Prima Luce Lab, because I already sold 2 Eagle 5s. So whoever wants an Eagle 5, let me know. I got them on pre-order. So Eagle 5s are ready to be sold. The Eagle 5 S Pro and XTM, which is sick. All the same price as the Eagle 4, $21.95 and $16.95. The XTM is $29.95, and that has a Ryzen 3 processor in it. It also has 32 gig of RAM and a 2 terabyte NVMe drive plus Wi-Fi 6, like 10 USB ports. It's a different form factor and everything. So go take a look at it. So like I said, $29.95 for the XTM, $21.95 for the Pro, and $16.95 for the S. So it's the lower 2 ones. Well, the Pro and the S are the same price as the 4. They kept that the same. So no increase in price. Who could say that?
Nice.
So, and then also we'll have on. We also became a dealer in Player One cameras, so they'll be on the website, as well as Rigel Systems and Pegasus. So, and soon to be William Optics. I'm putting in my order for William Optics probably within the next week. So if anybody wants to buy like an FLT 91 or something, just hit me up with an email, or even Red Cats 71s, 51s, Flatteners, whatever. Let me know, because I'm going to put in my first order very, very soon with them. So there we go. Unfortunately, the Howie Glatter laser collimator is only made by Starlight, and they have the goods right now for it. So it's the only place to get it. So yeah, I have, and if you want to talk offline, I'll be happy to talk to you, Dave. But I have heard from Nick. So anyway, all right, 11:10. I think it's time to say goodnight, my friends, my peoples.
Awesome.
So, final thoughts, Pure as a Mind Killer?
No, just it's nice to every once in a while have these kind of shows where it's more of an open forum, and we can share even our own woes that we, you know, are having, you know, because we're not immune to them or anything like that. So no, that's what I really do enjoy about, you know, doing this. And yeah, we've got, what is it, Warren Keller next week, and then NEAF. So hey, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, so no ZWO yet with me. I will be getting them. I already have been in conversation with Memory over ZWO, and she wants to see the website up and that kind of stuff first before. But they are open to doing dealership with us, so coming soon, hopefully. But we will see. All right, Pete.
I'm just curious, what are we going to do on Friday? Is it just a free format as well? Are we going to do, it's the end of the month, right? So we got to do Astro Image of the Month, right? As well as Astrophotography of the Week.
No, okay, so we already did the Image of the Month for February. March is ending on Friday. So Friday is the last image of the Friday's the last image of the week for March. Once that one is picked, then starting April 1st, you'll be able to vote for the next 2 weeks for Picture of the Month for March. And we'll release Picture of the Month for March, middle April.
So basically then it's just a free format. So once again, I was just looking at what Norm had posted. I mean, we talked about that last week. Everybody likes like Pimp My Rig. Do we want to do something like that on Friday unless we have anything scheduled? I mean, do we have a presentation? I think the last presentation was a couple of weeks ago, and that was on the cameras. But do we need to come up with something for Friday?
Probably, yeah. We probably should, because
we can talk about that offline. You know, maybe we can collaborate and figure that out. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. All right, fellas. Well, again, great show. Thanks everybody for hanging out and you know, just jumping in the chat and having some really great questions. Really good time as usual. You know, hopefully I'll be able to get my red, green, blue fix tonight on my Leo trio. I saw somebody emailed me a Leo trio. I think it was Carol Santulis. I couldn't get it online. I'm sorry, but it looked great, Carol. I saw that. Anyway, don't forget April 5th. We got Warren Keller Friday night. We'll come up with something. Again, you know, maybe just an open kind of conversation. Maybe one of us will do a little chat. So don't forget Friday night at 8 p.m. We'll be back. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go back to imaging because my night's going well.
Great.
Yeah, sorry, Eric.
No, you know what? The guys that gave me some good ideas. They say, hey, keep imaging. You know, I've got Blur Exterminator. They say, you know, Blur Exterminator will help deal with this. So I'm going to keep imaging. I'm going to do what I can. So,
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you Friday night. It's 11:15. Have a good night, everybody. And remember, as always, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you Friday night. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.